Hey everyone, and welcome to this special quarantine edition of Underground Video Network's Behind the Counter, or I guess in this case, maybe we should rename it. If behind the webcam, or I'm behind my counter. So, so Rich, how you been, Rich?
Good. It's been a wild week.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely been something. A lot happening. Hey everyone, and
Oops, sorry, that was me. I was shutting down another screen.
oh man. So how's it going? How's this last week been for you?
Not too bad. Trying to get some stuff done. Still got a little school stuff trying to get done. Some other stuff and some other. I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff I don't want to talk about, but it'll be there.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I lost an Amazon order. I ordered something on Amazon. They shipped it out of Cleveland, and USPS. Who knows where it's at? They had a sale on Godzilla. Remember the animated series from the 90s based on the Zilla from, what was Matthew Broderick was in it or whatever?
I do remember that, yeah.
But the cartoon was actually pretty cool, but I never saw the whole season. Found the disc for $8, and I had $10 left over from Amazon card from my aunt. And I said, why not?
Why not?
Reason.
Yeah. That was around the time, too, where they were making cartoons of any weird, bizarre, any property. It was like, I remember during that time, what was it? The Toxic Crusader had a cartoon.
Yeah.
Which, if you remember that movie, that was not a kid-friendly movie. I remember they even did it was a very short-run cartoon of the movie Evolution.
Oh yeah.
Remember David Duchovny? Yeah.
Angelia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was Julia.
Oh, that's right. Julia.
Oh, from The Big Lebowski.
Yeah. I'm blank.
Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
Julianne Moore. Yeah, even it had a cartoon. So yeah, it would have made perfect sense. There was a Godzilla cartoon.
Yeah, I heard it was a lot better. I only watched the first couple episodes. I was working a lot during that time on Saturday, so I never got a chance to watch it. But $8.
There was no way it could be any worse than that movie was. It was enjoyable. It was, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully I can reorder it. Amazon sent me the thing apologizing it got lost today and said you're allowed to reorder or whatever. So whatever.
Yeah. So, there has been a lot, especially in my house, a lot of online ordering. Amazon's one. Oh, I got to show you this. I had a birthday last week, which I don't even pay attention anymore. But I usually get myself, one little thing. And this year it was very little. I got to show you. This is let me show you the scale for. This is how big this is. It's Baby Yoda. It's the child with the little froggy and the soup bowl and even the little nub. Now look how good Lord. I mean, come on, look. Here's my thumb. That's how small this thing is.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure because I don't have any other handy of the Black Series of the Star Wars figures, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 scale. But I mean, damn. that it's gone. Oh, there, I got to help out some friends this week. One of our favorite people one of my favorite people in the entire world, Molly Durst. She does she's been putting a lot of her stuff on like Store Envy, t-shirts and everything. Me and her I call it collaboration. I made a one-off joke and she ran with it. But if you're from the Midwest, you know our end all beat all favorite word is oh. You know, like you bump into somebody, oh, you know, and we were joking around on Facebook, and she said something about, you know, Ohio, the heart of it, ope. And I told her, I go, you need to make that a T-shirt. I will order. Within like a day, she sent me the pattern to it, and I was just like, within an hour, I was online ordering that T-shirt from her. I got a chance to order a couple prints from friends. I have a friend named Kenzie Lynn that I ordered a print off of her store, Kinsey Creations. One of my favorite artists who does a line of work online. I'll have to look him up. Yale Scott, I believe it is. He does a great artwork, and he's got a comic strip called JL8, which shows the Justice League as toddlers. And I ordered a print off him. Actually, I should grab it and do it in an unboxing because I literally got it today. Wow. Maybe I'll do that in a little bit. Yeah, I literally got the tube in the mail today. But yeah, bless the online service. You know, it sucks you lost your package. You know, but considering how much is being done, even more so before, because so many people are, you know, ordering things online now more than before.
Right.
It sucks, but you know.
Yeah, but still support your local comic shops.
Yes.
They're open now. Most of them's open now.
Yes. Last week I got a chance to visit my local comic book store at Lima, Ohio. Alter Ego Comic Books. Very responsible. You know, they didn't take any chances. You know, they adhered to the guidelines. They had the plexiglass up at the register, you know, where you know, put your credit card in. Hand sanitizer was available. The staff was wearing masks. I wore my mask in. Social distancing was observed. Aside from getting a new comic book, oh my God, I can't tell you how much of a lifesaver it was just to be able to still, again, like I said, social distancing was practiced. We take it very seriously, but there was just the three of us, me, my friend Jared, who works there, and Alex, who works there. Social distancing, but be able to talk shop, you know, like the good old days. It was, I probably spent about an hour longer there than I had originally planned on, but it was well worth it and well needed. And not by my poll, not a lot came out this week. The only book that I got not this week, last week, was the Justice League. And hey, if I had to get just one book for the week, Justice League, that was a pretty good book to get. And it was mentally very nice. You know, it was a little bit of getting back to normal, you know, being able to sit down with my new comic, cup of coffee, you know, it really did. It was very nice. But yeah, like you said, the stores are open. Be safe, be intelligent, be smart, be kind. But yes, your local store is open. Help support them.
Speaking of Justice League, what do you think about the Snyder cut coming out?
I can't wait. You know what? God damn it, Rich. I wish you were there. I wish you were there last Saturday, because we had the same discussion that me and you had last week about the DC Universe app, and I we talked about it last week. Me and Jared, and then we talked about it last week. We were big advocates for it, but I really do. I'm thinking it's time to cut that service.
Now on the HBO Max, they're calling it the DC Extended Universe.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird because that was fan based. That wasn't even part of DC. Now they jumped on it.
Yes, they did.
And I've been watching the stuff on there. You know, I got the sample. You know, of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it looks pretty good so far. I don't know if you subscribe.
Yeah.
You know, they have like a week or two free or something like that.
Not yet. I'm waiting to do it just because I'm waiting for the right time, so I can fully enjoy the week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like for me, like during the week, you know, right now I'm so technically on third shift. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hell, I'm waiting until I'm waiting until I'm done getting caught up on Avatar: The Last Airbender off Netflix. I am, and we'll touch on that. But yes, Avatar: The Last Airbender is streaming on Netflix, and I am one of those people. I will admit it. I'm one of those people that did not watch it when it was first on Nickelodeon.
Oh wow!
It's not that I ever had anything against it. I don't remember why I didn't watch it. I think it was just. Well, I think Richard, it was around that time where TV was still live.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you didn't get to watch something, you didn't get to watch something.
And
I think I got
DVR, yeah, most people didn't have DVR. Some did, but
yeah. And I didn't until it was too late. And Avatar is one of those shows where it is a serial. So if you tried to jump into the middle of it, I'm sure you could still enjoy it, but there still was a lot of backstory that you would have missed. And I was just like, yeah. I'm lost. But I am one of those people that the day it dropped on Netflix, I was right there. And I have been steadily. I really do. I see why people have such great love for this show. I love the show. I really do. I can't stop watching it. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm waiting until I'm done with it before I jump on the HBO. But I'm going to.
The Looney Tunes is great. The new Looney Tunes.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I did want to ask you about that. How you like it?
Did you watch the little sampling they had like last weekend, or did you get a chance to see that?
I did not.
They streamed they have an episode, and on the episode they have like 3 segments or like cartoons in a half an hour block, and then they have like little snippets in between. Like they have like a Martian Manhunter or Martian Man. I'm thinking DC.
Marvin the Martian.
Marvin the Martian, yeah. Not John John. But he comes out with flag planning and stuff like that, you know. It is just some little gag jokes that's in between the cartoons. And I don't think this is really for like younger kids in a way. I think it's got I'm older now, so you see the upper level stuff. And
right.
It's deeper, you know.
Well, Warner Brothers has always been really good about that, though. Making things available for all audiences. One of the greatest examples is the Animaniacs.
True.
Because when Animaniacs first came out, I was amongst that, you know, the younger age that loved the cartoon. I grew up with it, so I loved it. So I went back and rewatched it as an adult, and I'm like, oh my God, how did they get away with?
I stayed after work and watched it because it was on at 4:30. You know, and I got off work at 4. I just stayed in my office and watched it.
Yeah. So it definitely is. Animaniacs is one of those cartoons. I hate to say it because I still love it. It does not age well just because it was a very it was a very current.
Yeah, yeah.
And when Animaniacs first aired, they made a lot of references to movies that were old at the time. You know, like they showed Humphrey Bogart and, you know, Lauren Bacall. You know what I mean? It was
And the president.
And the president, yes. So it was very much tuned to adults at the time.
Correct.
So if you were in your late 20s and 30s at that time, you were catching the like the Marx Brothers are the perfect example, you know.
Yeah.
But that's a perfect example how Warner Brothers was always very good at doing that. Even Tiny Toons was really good at that too, you know.
Yeah.
It was very slapsticky for kids, but there were still jokes that weren't adult but for grown-ups.
Right. So like I said, these are pretty good. The animation is great. I'm really surprised they put a lot into the animation.
Really?
Yeah, they just didn't slap these together. These are looks almost like the old fashioned from like the 50s.
Good.
You know, I mean, not the maybe even earlier than that. I mean, 40s actually, because
right.
50s they kind of slid a little bit there, but you know, but what's neat is some of the gags from even back then. They're like I'll give one away. The Roadrunner, the coyote and the Roadrunner. He paints on a stone. You know, I mean, that's an old gag, but that is an old gag. They took it further, and I won't say any more because I don't want to spoil it. But they actually started that gag, and then they went in a whole nother direction with it. That's never been done. At least I've never seen it like that.
Oh my god!
Cool.
Yeah.
And these are those types of, you know, it's Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, you know, Porky Pig, the Coyote and Roadrunner, you know,
Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, Tweety Bird, you know, it's in everything. This is those characters, not new or anything. It's just newer story and interpretations, you know. Right.
I do like one of my friends posted who has the service posted a picture. He showed like the DC selection, and it was so surreal because you had like Wonder Woman, Shazam, Jonah Hex, Steel, all you know, and you didn't have to do a deep dive to get to Steel. Like Wonder Woman, you know, was like right here, Shazam was right here, and Steel was right here, you know. So I'm like, you had my curiosity, now you have my attention.
But no, I don't know. It might work for a while. Like I said, DC Universe, I don't think it's going to be around too much longer.
Right now, the only perk that DC still has, and I see it probably going away soon, is still the Harley Quinn cartoon.
Right.
Which, God, man, I really like it. I really do. But here's the thing, though. I really like it. But it's not like we've had this conversation before with like Netflix, where if it wasn't for one or two things, really, I probably would have dumped Netflix. But those one or two things are what's really keeping me there. You know, like Witcher, Stranger Things. DC Universe doesn't have those. I really like Harley Quinn, but not enough.
Yeah.
And even I was able to watch the most current episode of Stargirl, which we'll talk about.
Right.
Like you said, before, you know, days before it hit the CW app.
Yeah, it's on Monday.
Yeah, it still wasn't that big of a deal to me.
Right.
You know, because even then when, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday came when it dropped on the app, I rewatched it.
Yeah, I watched it live. I watched it relive at 8 o'clock, so you know.
Yeah. So yeah, and I do. I think it's going to be a trade-off. One way or another, DC is getting my money. You know what I mean? So it's not like, you know, I'm dropping the thing altogether. You know, but yeah, I really do think that the DC Universe app is going to be going to be going away for me, and the HBO is going to be the one I'm going to replace it with.
HBO Max doesn't have Titans though, currently.
You know they will though. I would bet.
At the moment they
don't. I know.
And Swamp Thing CW, so you know.
Yeah. And, I actually got into this conversation with a couple of my friends. My one friend, Aaron, I got into this conversation with because he was talking to a friend of his about it. They didn't have the CW app, or they didn't have the DC app. But he had mentioned to them that Swamp Thing was coming to the CW app. Now, not new episodes, but they were rebroadcasting it. And they're really hoping, I think everybody is really hoping that maybe if the numbers are there, that maybe the CW, or even another service, it's happened before, where the numbers do good on the CW and maybe even Sci-Fi picks it up, or, somebody.
Look at Lucifer.
Exactly. Yes.
It went to Netflix, and now it's been picked up for a 6th season. So, hopefully, you never know. With the DC stuff.
And it was great too, because not only did Netflix pick up Lucifer, but it's still technically within the confines of the CW universe. Because if you remember, one of the people they visited during Crisis,
right,
was Lucifer,
Yeah, and I was going on the Legends,
Legend. Well, we'll talk about that. Constantine.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Yeah.
Constantine. Which, let's go ahead. Let's aside from, we did get some new comic books this week. We did get some new show. And not only that, it's not just the DC stuff we get to talk about this week, new episodes. We want to go ahead and talk about, no, I know you did. God bless Facebook. I hate saying that, but let's talk about DC first. DC.
Yeah.
I did get to watch the newest episode of Stargirl. Man,
it's great.
I really like it. I really, really genuinely enjoy Stargirl.
The production value's there.
Yes, it is. I hope it stays there.
Me too.
I want to give special props to Stargirl, because I think it is the first time in superhero, if I'm wrong, Richard, I know you'll correct me, we got to see the hero make their costume.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And I don't just mean, like it was some like hastily put together, like Spider-Man, they showed him like drawing it. But I mean, they showed her sewing the costume and breaking that. I love that moment so much. Consistently breaking the sewing machines. But it was such a nice touch that we got to see a superhero actually make their costume, because that's always been like one of the running jokes, where I think the one that nailed it best was Spider-Man with Tom Holland, when they showed him in the old like sweatsuit, before Tony Stark gave him the costume. That was a great moment, because that's what me and you and anybody else that woke up with, it'd be a sweatpant outfit with, goggles, but to show her actually make her costume, that was and doing it at school too. That was a nice touch, because who, aside from costumers and cosplayers, literally, when was the last time you walked into a friend's house and saw a sewing machine, So she had to go to school to do it, That was a great moment.
And Mastermind, when she fought him, that was crazy.
Dude, that was so awesome. And I think that was one of, if not the best examples of why there are still secret identities. Because, I mean, that bit her in the ass so hardcore, because everybody's like, oh, I have to wear the mask to protect my family. Batman, in The Dark Knight, that was a great example of it. But it always bothered me because, especially with Christian Bale's Batman, who did Batman have? He had Alfred,
right,
who was in a mansion. There was no real, threat. But Courtney has a family. And when Mastermind said, I'm going to kill your mom, and I'm going to make it look like an accident, dude, that hurt my soul. You know what I mean? That was just like, oh crap, because I mean, even, oh yeah. I'm going to come after your mom. I'm going to come after your little brother, your stepbrother.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the first time I seen the threat really legitimately real, I think Spider-Man's about to close, aside from that, is about the closest we've really seen it.
Yeah, because he lost Gwen Stacy in the comics, because
and his Aunt May, he that's direct family, it's like,
right. Well, it was Mary Jane being dropped off the bridge in the movie,
True, yeah.
But
yeah, I mean,
it was Stargirl was just. I like how there's the backstory, and we're going to get into that next.
Yes,
because we're going to get a young version of the Justice Society. It's going to be popping up. Did you see all those little posters or whatever you want to call it, or previews or whatever?
Snippets, yeah. And I gotta say, the other thing I really liked is I liked Stripe. I liked the robot, dude. I'm a technophile. I still like the fact that he pointed out that I made it from car parts.
Right.
Again, he's not Tony Stark. And the other little small thing I liked, because I will admit I was never an avid collector of that run of the Justice Society, but I did pick up books here and there. I like that when they showed her getting on the back of the robot, he built it for that reason. There were handles up there. There was a place for her to stand. It wasn't like she just jumped on the back of the bot and grabbed on there. He specifically made it. With that in mind. That was a really nice touch.
I still like testing.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great moment. And then it still bit him in the ass. He was so proud it worked. He fired the fist, and it was like it came up to Mastermind, and he was just like Jedi forced. It was like, now, poof, The one little thing I loved this joke so much that I rewound it was when he walked up to the robot, walk, walk. He unlocked it with the walk, walk, and then the other. Oh man. See, I'm a small detail guy, but it was when they landed back at the garage. He's got this fancy mech suit. The garage door opener was still just a garage door opener. It wasn't even like built into the bot. It was legitimate. He had to pull it down. I was like, because why? Why would you waste the time incorporate into your robot? You've got it right there. That's a time waster. Just use that. And I liked her little. I liked her little thing with the acronym too.
Oh,
it had to be an acronym.
Yeah, they really stuck with a lot of what Jeff Johns had written in the original comic book series.
He's writing the show.
I know. That's why it's so.
Oh, and yes. Oh, you can feel that he is genuinely. It is a genuine adaptation. It's not like in the spirit of it. It's not like it's just based on the work of Jeff Johns. Oh, I'm writing it, buddy.
Yeah.
I would have loved that to have been the credit based on the work of me, inspired by me. And I liked her costume. I liked her work with the cosmic rod.
Right.
Seeing the way I love the relationship she's building with the cosmic rod. She's slowly starting to acknowledge that this thing might actually be alive. And she's starting. It is, and she's starting to treat it as such.
And she's riding it just like in the comic book too, because in the comic book she jumps up on it and then rides it, and to see that in live action was just, whoa, this is just like the comic.
Yeah. I am. We're 2 episodes in, and I am already a huge fan of Stargirl to the point where I'm already like, give me the action figures. I want the 2-pack. I want her, and I want Stripe. you know, and a great cast too. I mean, I do know the character of Courtney Whitmore enough, you know, from the OJSA comic books, you know, or the not as old, the older modern. You know what I mean, Richard.
Yeah.
I am familiar enough that they cast her perfectly.
She looks like her.
She does look just like her. She's a great actress. She really encompasses the role. Luke Wilson, man, if you'd have told me Luke Wilson was going to be part of the CW universe, you know, years ago when I'm watching Old School, I'd have been like, no, there's no way. And he's so good. He really is good in that role because he plays the role of belittled sidekick and belittled stepdad so well. It's like he's trying desperately to fulfill both of these roles. Amy Smart's been really good. It was nice seeing her role when you got to see just how much the Injustice Society is encapsulated in that small town.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's when you realize how deep it goes in that small town, you're like, man, it's almost like Hydra.
Oh yeah.
When you know, it's almost like, you know, you've been going to this grocery store forever, but you look over and you see the bag boy, you know, Hail Hydra, you know, you realize, oh, wait a minute, are they
like programming the kids or something? I wonder.
That's really what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's going to be like a Hydra situation where they're training the kids at the high school level to be the best of the best, and then they're going to start the brainwashing. Right, yeah. You know, it's going to be like a Stepford Wives type situation.
I'm trying to remember if they did that in the comic or not. I should dig out the old ones and reread those.
I think that scenario, I wouldn't say specifically JSA. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. I want to say that at some point, even Captain America book tied on that somehow.
Yeah.
And I think that might be why I've got Hydra in my head. That might have been one of those storylines.
When they redid Captain, they totally redid his whole stuff and everything. And that might be happening in the other series we should be talking about.
Yeah. Before we jump on that, we're saying a CW.
Legends.
Oh my God, I love Legends. The only problem I had with this week was I really do wonder if like maybe he doesn't have some other prior commitments or something, but it seems like Rory's getting less and less screen time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the hair, dude. The hair.
Oh my God, I love the hair, dude. He went full on Ricardo Montalban in that episode, and I love that when he snapped out of it. I love that we're learning more and more about him because it wasn't just that when they snapped back to reality when they were behind the scenes. I love that he goes, I love the hair and I love Star. What was it again, Richard? It wasn't Star Trek. It was like Star Walk or...
No, it was Star Tracks.
Oh, yeah. But he admitted he loved that show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, son of a bitch. But this episode was the perfect example of why of what I've said I've loved about the show, how it does not take itself too seriously. The show has always acknowledged itself that it's a TV show. You know, the episode we got the week before, you know, when the guy said, let's do a spinoff, you know, and they're constantly talking about crossovers. They acknowledged being in shows within shows, you know. They did. She did my boy Constantine dirty too, though, and he was so pissed about it. You made me the bloody butler. That was so genius. And I mean, they pushed it. It was like a great Cracked or Mad Magazine parodies. I rank it up there with that because like the Best Buds, there was no ands, ifs, or buts about the fact that was the Friends that was the Friends set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was.
You know, I mean, the Star Trek thing, they could have gotten almost away with any Star Wars or Star based.
Whatever. Yeah.
No, this was Friends, man. You know,
I love how they went up to the door. Where does this door go? We didn't even know it was there.
yeah, that was awesome. We've never opened. I never, you know, I did. It was tongue in cheek, which is what Legends does the best, but it was still clever. It wasn't just like a Family Guy parody, you know what I mean? Where it's just like we're doing a parody for the sake of a parody. You know, they have no reason to be clever. It's like we're doing Star Wars. You know, it was still clever it was still clever and still worked within the show. You know that the fates. Like, I'll make you a deal. Don't kill him, but you know.
Did you watch the opening real close?
Yes, the way they changed the credits to. The show, even the show.
Yeah, you know,
yes,
it had all those 1984 references and stuff. And then, did you see the very last one? Gary still knows.
Yes, I did. I noticed that. Yes, because not only was it 1984, but it stayed within the theme of the show, where it was the Fates were in charge now. So it was a show.
But the very last one is said Gary still knows.
Gary still, yes.
Because I had to stop and go, did that just say Gary what? I had to go back.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one that kind of knew. Because remember he was saying about the world or something, you know.
The world's not right. He was holding up the sign, you know, and it was, what was it? It's like, you're crazy. Yeah, my friends, you know, people call me that too, you know. And I liked that they brought the... Oh, I can't remember her name. The one that turned into the Bigfoot monster.
Darn, I just went blank too.
I know.
It's not Mallory? No.
No. Maya?
No. Something like that.
But anyway, I liked how they brought her back because she hasn't been in the show very often, which I know why, because I'd seen her pop up on a premiere of a news show. So I knew it was like when I noticed that she wasn't on the show anymore, it's like, well, did they just write her off? Like, what? No, she's been doing something else. But I like how they brought her back. That of all the people to show working in the history whitewash department, you know, it was her, you know, rewriting history. And I like the way they did it too. You know, Caesar was blah, blah, blah. Okay. Can't say that he was a conqueror, you know, or Caesar, you know, nope. Can't say that. It was like Caesar was a hard worker. Acceptable, you know.
Mona Wu.
Mona. Thank you. Yes.
I had to look it up.
And it was really nice too that they showed when they showed the people at home watching the show, they showed Rory's daughter and her mom.
Yeah,
that was a really nice little touch. That was really nice.
That means they didn't wipe them out. They're still part of the universe.
Yeah.
Even though it's 1984-ish.
And it was a nice touch too, and I noticed it, and I'm proud of UCW for doing it. But when they showed Sarah as the captain of the what was it, the Wave Walker or whatever, her and what? Oh my God, this is the problem with live. I sound like such a moron.
Ava.
Ava, thank you. You knew who I was talking. Sarah and Ava were the leads of the ship. Everybody else, the crew, was all guys wearing little shorty shorts. It was a nice little representation. You know, it was a throwback to, you know, how when the shows were first aired, they were
the Next Generation tried that. The Next Generation did do that.
with the cosmic cheerleader, Deanna Troy. Yeah.
Well, a lot of the very first season, they were trying to get that gender neutral outfit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But they show the guys walking around in shorty shorts, you know, because they were the ones in charge, you know.
Yeah.
But the show The Ships, that was great. And when they were trying to communicate, they couldn't because the translator wasn't on, and it was I really enjoyed that episode. That's the thing that you love about Legends is it still has a running storyline, but still each individual episode is still greatly entertaining in and of itself. You really didn't need to really know what was going on to enjoy a good Star Trek parody, to enjoy a good Downton Abbey parody, you know, to enjoy a Mr. Rogers parody, you know. And I love how when they all started singing, you could see that they weren't in control of themselves singing, so they were as equally. They're like, "I'm okay, you're okay." You know, they just had that look on their face.
And I loved it when the old Zari came back.
Me too.
And then she looked in the mirror and she goes, "No!" She had
yeah, she goes, "Oh, there's a lot going on here," you know. It was really great for Nate to have that little bit. I don't know how they'll move with that in the future, you know, because now we had, you know, when they walked off set, there were two Zaris.
Right.
And I will admit, when they first introduced Zari's brother, I was kind of like, he grew on me. Now I really like him. I'm like, man, don't write him off. I really like her brother.
Well, when what's her name took the
thread.
Yeah,
she did. Yeah. So it's very possible.
I don't know.
I do. I would like to see that, and it was very subtle. They didn't make too much of a big deal about it, but you saw John Constantly pitching a little bitch fit. You know, when they showed the original Zari and Nate, you know, like kissing, you know, it was really nice. And you know, it's really weird, Richard, speaking of Legends real quick, is the show's been on for a little while, but it's made such a great transition from when the show first started to now. A friend of mine posted a picture of the original crew compared to the current crew, and you're like, oh my God, it really has, like, Sarah is really like the only person.
Rory.
Sarah and Rory are like the only two.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody else, even we forget Nate wasn't, you know, one of the original crew, you know.
Yeah, he came
and
on
it's
later.
just like, yeah, and it's just like, oh man, and it really did. It made me want to go back and rewatch from the beginning because Firestorm, you know, the professor and his other half, Leonard, you know, it's like, wow, because other shows like Flash, Arrow, you know, we've seen some new characters introduced, but most of the core cast has stayed there. You know, Arrow was Diggle, Oliver, Felicity, you know, Flash. You know, we've kept the core cast,
right,
and added a little bit. Somebody might have left for a little bit, but Legends has done a complete, you know, flip, and it was never dramatic. It was a slow progression to the point where you missed it.
Well, we had Hawk Girl for the longest time.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Her and Carter.
Man. Yeah.
Yes. You did. You forgot about them. But we've got a little time left. Yeah. CW and DC are not the only ones who have brought new episodes back this week. We got to see, yes, the premiere, the season premiere of the last season. It has been announced, and I'm fine with it, of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
And I like the way they've done it. because that could not have been an easy show to write for, Richard. We give that show a lot of flack, but that show was created with the MCU in mind. But once, I don't want to say it ran off the rails, once you realized that there was no way that they could really keep it within the MCU, they had to figure out a way to withdraw it from the MCU. And they've done a really good job when they put him in the future.
Right.
That was good. The mainframe, that was really good. You know, they had to keep it within the confines because, you know, Colton was a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Fury,
right,
who's met Captain America, and in the in a world where Iron Man exists,
and he died,
but you couldn't. How do you have a storyline going on where Thor could come in and solve the problem? You know,
right?
You know, like that. You know, and this season has been no exception. Putting them in the past, pre-S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
I like it. It works. And it really plays on Colton's inner fanboy. You know what I mean? Because even Quake calls him out on it. She's like, your fanboy's showing. You know, when he's talking about HDR, she's like, calm down. Calm down. You know. But it was very nice to see the show come back. It was. I really like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it was very comforting and warm to see the show return. It's been a while.
Yeah.
We're talking like Doctor Who level of hiatus. You know what I mean?
It was pre-Christmas, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to see them return was I did. I enjoyed it.
But did it really feel Terminator mixed with Matrix with those guys from what was it, Chromatron or whatever?
Yeah, the Chromatrons. Yeah,
yeah. They was like, you know, because they're trying to change history, you know, to wipe out S.H.I.E.L.D. so that everything would, you know.
And spoilers. The way they did it, I'll give them this. The way they did it was uber clever, because the first thing you would have thought was, oh, they're here to prevent S.H.I.E.L.D. from existing. But you find out later on that they were there to, it was almost like they were there to prevent Hydra from existing, because if Hydra didn't exist,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
then S.H.I.E.L.D. wouldn't exist, because there would have been no reason for S.H.I.E.L.D. to exist.
Right.
That was clever. That was, honest to God, very clever. Because it would have been, and I wouldn't have thought it was lazy. I would not have thought it was lazy if they were there to prevent S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, like, hey, if we kill Peggy Carter, there'll be no S.H.I.E.L.D. because blah, 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 blah. You know, she did this and this and this and this and this. No, we're going deeper down the rabbit hole. If the bad guy wasn't here, you know.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't sure where they was going with that at first either, because I always liked how, because the one guy looked so much like Mr. Smith there in a few of his acting, you know. It was like a combination of Arnold Schwarzenegger as Terminator mixed with Mr. Smith, you know.
Yeah. The way I think about it, Richard, it's kind of like, instead of going back in time to prevent Joe Chill from killing Martha and Bruce Wayne's parents.
Oh, okay.
Instead of that moment, hey, if we go back in time and we kill Joe Chill's parents, then Joe Chill's never born, and Joe Chill never kills Batman. You know what I mean? They went
the parents don't die, so Bruce becomes a playboy guy, you know. Yes.
Yeah, or even deeper. If we take that one patent away from, the Waynes, they never get the money.
Yeah.
They don't become so. So then he never has a way of fight. It went that one meta level deeper.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. It was a little mixture of like Terminator and the Matrix.
But even
and
the guy that was playing the main, it was just so. It was.
And don't forget to smile. and that was really good. Don't be disturbed if you hear screaming. It was like, but it was the other moment I really liked was when they stole the old car and they pulled it into the Quinjet. What do they have now? The Quinjet or the helicarrier?
It's the Quinjet. Yeah, it's the
Quinjet.
Well, it's that next one size up. Yeah.
The Zephyr.
Yeah.
When they pull it up there, just because it had that like first episode feel of when he pulled Lola in.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It was like tying that moment. It was like coming full circle, because in that first episode, we saw that, Lola pull in, and now this is like their way of saying this is our new start, and they pull the old, Model T in.
But all the sticks in the stream are starting to dam up. Are they going to change time?
I did really like that analogy.
Yeah.
I really did, and I'll give him credit for that. I did like Coulson calling him out. No patents. Like, like all right. I'm glad that they're finally starting to give him a little bit more credit. It's like when Daisy asked him, "Can you hotwire this car?" He's like, "Early combustion? Yeah, I got this." I like that character. And I liked him, and I like that they're giving him a little bit more to do than just the guy in the background like they did, last season. They're starting to give him a little bit more credit. I did really like the Doc Brown moment when Simmons or Gemma pulls out that drawer and there's all the money from the different errors. That was a nice little touch too.
But what about Coulson having his body there?
I like the way they did it, and I like the way they handled it. I like that it was Daisy that was like, she hit that button without a doubt, because Coulson was her father figure, and yes, she knows that physically that's not Coulson, but she knew that deep down it was going to be Coulson.
Right.
But I liked how Mac had that moment of morality where, like, this isn't what he would have wanted.
Yeah.
And it's not right. And I did like how when Coulson came back, he had that moment of being overwhelmed with all the memories being downloaded and him getting caught up. That was really great.
Yeah.
And I did like that they were very open and honest with him about, you're an LMD.
Right.
You're an LMD. I was afraid that there was going to be an underlying story arc where it was just like, I was afraid they were going to lie to him for a while and say that it's like, it was Tahiti all over again, and then he's like, oh, yeah. No, I'm actually a robot. No, you're an LMD. This is what you are.
Yeah.
So he acknowledged it, and he used it to his advantage when they were in that club. He's just like, yeah, that's right, I can't die. And he walked right up to that guy with the shotgun. It's like, God, I like how they brought up a lot of subtle little things without going overboard on it. They could have made issues like when the cop says something to Daisy about, shouldn't you be at home with a husband? It's a very rough time period for Daisy and Mac. This is a period of time where it was very difficult to be a woman, and it was very difficult to be a person of color.
Right.
And they didn't just blow it off. This wasn't just a happy, superhero fantasy world. They acknowledged it. It is an issue. We moved on. You know what I mean? It would have been very easy to make a big deal about it, but
it's like Doctor Who. Sometimes they don't touch on that.
Yes. You know, the two of the best times that they did, actually the only real, well, it was, no.
They've done it.
Well,
but
they've done it, you know, they have done it, and I like the way they did it. The best time they did it was with when Capaldi's doctor was with Bill, when they go back in time, and Bill's like, not exactly, you know, you know, she looks around, and I think part of the reason why they were able to get away with it was because it was set, well, not only set in England, but they were in, you know, they were in Britain at the time, so it wasn't as big of a deal as it was in America.
Right.
You know, it's just like, you know, it's like, and during this time period, it's okay over here, you know. Yeah, but the one other thing that I really liked was when frickin' Patton Oswalt, man. And they look like, seriously. Like, seriously, he's like, yeah, my full name is blah, 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 blah. It's like, it was almost like, it's like, we got to bring Patton Oswalt back just because he's such a fanboy. He loves this stuff so much. We got to find. He's the great-great-grandfather. He looks just like him. Move on, you know. It's a damn Marvel show. We don't care. It's the exact identity, you know.
Yeah, and I love Enoch at the end after the credit when they came back. I had one job to keep track of May, and I lost her.
I did too. It's like, you had one job, Enoch. You had one job. I was like, and that's such a great line too, you know, and for him to acknowledge it himself. And I loved too when they walked into that room and he had the headphones on. It doesn't matter what level of superior being you are, how highly evolved and intellect you are. When you're wearing headphones, you have to talk like this. That was great. Oh, man. And to see May. Oh, I was so glad. I'm really glad. I love May. I love the actress Minwan. I love her. It was one of my favorite cameos in The Mandalorian. I think she's one of the greatest ass kickers of all time. And not only to show her back, but even in that one moment where she's up there in the rafters, like, oh yeah, don't forget, I'm a badass. I'm totally Spider-Man in this stuff right now because I'm a bad. I just got healed from dying. Still a badass, you know. And I really look forward to seeing her interaction with Colton. I really, we got to see how it played with Daisy and Mac being in that time period. It's going to be very interesting to see how they handle May, who, you know, Asian American, you know, to see how that plays. But
I was just thinking, I wonder what ramifications this will have on the whole MCU.
I think you're going to see, let's be honest, none.
Yeah, I know.
But I like the idea because they pretty much touched on it. Because even the younger guy who I really like, you know, he was the one that said string theory. You know, multiple. It could be that, you know, maybe for them, maybe that's how the show will end, you know, is if they go back to the present from that current timeline, they're now within their own timeline, you know. Who knows?
Geek. I had to look it up.
Geek, thank you.
Sorry, someone's texting me.
But no,
live TV.
But I was very happy to see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. come back. I really like that show. It's like any other show. Good seasons, bad seasons. I really get the feeling that we're going to see this as one of the good seasons. I think they're opening it up for the possibility where they're not within so much strict confinement of the MCU. They'll be able to have fun and play with it, you know. Right. It was also a very good Star Trek. What was it? The Voyage Home, where they show the Zephyr and cloaked. I'm still really waiting for that joke to happen. Where somebody in Central Park bumps into the ship.
Right.
I'm hoping they just didn't put all their eggs in one basket and are waiting to do that joke later. But I better see that joke. I better see somebody walk into the bunk.
As long as they don't get
perimeter alert. Perimeter alert! Perimeter alert! What happened? You just see some homeless guy scratching his forehead, So yeah, it was a good week. We got some new shows. For me, this week. It was a chance to catch up on some old shows I didn't get the chance to watch first time around. Avatar: The Last Airbender, loving it. I'm definitely seeing the appeal of why everybody loved this show the first run around. We got a few of our CW shows, and we got to see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Rich, is there anything else this week that really piqued your interest?
I downloaded the Missile Command. Atari re-released Missile Command.
You were telling me about that. Tell me about that.
And they got it on I'm playing it on my Apple, so it's like, you sit there with your thumbs, and wherever you put your thumb, it leaves an X, and then the missile launches. So you got all the missiles coming down, and you're playing that, and it's pretty intense. Because the crazy thing is, you think the bigger ones would fall faster, they fall slower, and the smaller missiles go faster. So the
ones that are coming.
Oh yeah. So you have to sit there, but I use my thumb, so you can use both thumbs, and you got the 3 cannons just like the original Atari, you had the trackball back in the day. I don't know if you remember playing Missile Command like that.
Oh, dude. I do.
And slamming because this way you can actually have, I think, 4 missiles launched at once. So
because I remember at the bottom it showed at the very bottom it showed your ammo depot, or how much you could do.
Yeah, this is something similar. So you can only do it 4 at a time, and then it goes up and launches. Then you got the little ships that fly across, and then you got these other little things that comes and gives you like extra explosions or shields and stuff like that. So it's a little different, but it's really cool because it looks like vector graphics. It looks like the old school,
Oh, that's awesome!
Stuff. And it rumbles.
Seriously, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. There was one thing else I wanted to mention. I know we're running a little over, but we forgot to mention it the other week. We've been talking about all the new stuff that's been advertised. The Umbrella Academy.
Oh yeah.
It dropped. I love the way they did it too. The promo, the teaser for the season 2 premiere, or for the season 2 launch. Dropped last week, or might have been the week before, and they did it in it was almost like the quarantining and social distancing worked in their favor for it, because I really loved the Umbrella Academy on Netflix. I really enjoyed that show. And one of the running themes of the show was the song "I Think We're Alone Now," because remember it showed the cat. That was one of the little things that when they all were brought back together that kind of reunited them, was singing to Tiffany's "I Think We're Alone Now," and that was way before any of this happened. So it was like a perfect fit that they showed the cast currently, everyone within quarantine and in isolation. Dun, 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 dun. And it showed them all, suddenly starting to dance. It was perfect. It really was perfect, and it was such a great moment seeing all the the cast together again. And I'm really super excited for season 2 of the Umbrella Academy.
That's on Netflix, right?
That's on Netflix. And that's one of the things that we talked about earlier, Richard, where it was just like, as long as Netflix is still able to pull certain, original content, right. That's what's really saving them. Like Witcher, Stranger Things, The Umbrella Academy, Lock and Key. And a good thing about them doing stuff like that, like Lock and Key and the Umbrella Academy, I haven't gotten to do Umbrella Academy, but I'm going to, was for people like me, I watched Lock and Key on Netflix. I was familiar with the comic, the graphic novels. I was familiar with them. I never bought them.
Oh.
After watching the show, Richard, I just last week finished book 5 of 6.
Wow.
Because I liked the show so much that I have gone back through and bought the graphic novels. I literally last week finished book 5 of 6. And honest to God, when I go to the comic book store here soon, I want to say tomorrow, but I'm third shift. So later today in 12 hours for me, I'm going to be picking up book 6. And I plan on doing that too with the Umbrella Academy. And people that I know who have been really big fans of The Witcher, who were fans of the show, even people who were fans of the show and were fans of the game, it has inspired them to go back and read the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And vice versa. I know people who have been really excited about the show who have read the book, or one way or another. That's the one thing Netflix has been really good about pulling these properties in is inspiring interest in the other properties, the original source or the game. That is one thing that they have been really good about, is pulling the right source material and inspiring people to look up the other stuff.
Well, this is like on Amazon Prime with Boys.
Yeah, you are correct.
Boys, yeah.
The Boys. Same here. That is another one. I did get on that book. I was familiar with that book. It took me a little while to begin with. I hate to say it, but I didn't get it right away. But because this was kind of, the internet hadn't reached its peak yet. But when this is what you talk to your comic book store fan. When I had learned that the main character they had based on Simon Pegg to look like him, oh, sign me up. And then I got interested in it.
Right.
So that's what piqued my interest in the show. But the same thing too, when I told people, it's based on this, Garth Ennis book. Same thing.
Yeah. Because I only bought well, go ahead. What?
Well, I was going to say another one that doesn't get a lot of talk because it was never on one of the bigger networks. You can find it on Hulu, Preacher.
Right.
Which was on AMC, but you can find it on Hulu. That was another one. I picked up a few of the books when it first came out because it looked really interesting. And, how could you not pick up a cover that had Arseface? If you know who I'm talking, But it was another, if it hadn't been for the comic book, my introduction to the comic book, it might not have been a show that I had made an effort to go after. And I watched that show from beginning to end, and I really, not for kids. Holy, definitely not a comic book for kids. Definitely not a show for kids. But I really enjoyed that one too. It was a good thing. When you do it right, it's a great way to tie in the properties, which is something I don't think the MCU ever really did well, because not a lot of people I know that were like really big fans of, like the Captain America and Iron Man movies. They were so good in and of themselves that a lot of people I know that were general fans of the movies, they still could have cared less about the comics. I hate to say it, but it's like my sister, my aunt, my uncle, love the movies, still no interest in the books. But properties like the Umbrella Academy and, the lesser known ones, broader sense, lesser known.
Yeah.
They've done very well by those properties.
I mean, they were like stretching out for new material and stuff. So who knows what's, the indie guys might be selling stuff, who knows?
me and you, Richard, we have a lot of friends who have done independent comic books,
right?
That really fill that market. I like Mike Watson with his book Hot Shot.
Right.
That is one right there. That feels a great niche. For lack of a better term.
I think that'd be a great animated show because he took the first episode and they did animate it. I've seen that, and it looks good. Mm-hmm. I think it would work as a mature, like Spawn. Like when Spawn was animated.
Yes.
I think that could fit that niche. I think there's a lot of properties people we know. Or even kid stuff. I mean, look at Frank's book.
Yes. Oh, yes. Sarah Connor would be a great one. That would be a good one. Our friend Rodney Fike, peanut pudding and jelly.
Yeah.
That would be, oh my God, I would watch that in a heartbeat. Another one I can think of, Victor Dandridge's is the Kinder Guardians.
Right.
Yes. I'm really hoping, especially with so many services, that are coming out, but Netflix and all these, especially properties like Netflix and like Shudder. We have people who do horror books, and they're thirsty, they're hungry for content. So I'm hoping that this onslaught we've seen of new services that are hungry for content reach farther out and deeper down into the independent creators, and we might see people that we know getting the chance to see their works created like that. Because the content is there. The content is there. And the market for it is what's finally starting to catch up with them.
Yeah, because like I even noticed that there's like these like if you watch Pluto TV. Have you watched that? They have all them layers. I mean, they're digging deep for some of that content.
Yes, they are.
Because they just Andromeda has its own channel with all the old Andromeda stuff. It's crazy what they're coming up with.
Well, if you think about it, Richard, it's kind of like history repeating itself because you and I are old enough. Remember, we're talking pre-CW days. We're talking the WB network. Look at all the goofy UPN. Look at all those goofy shows, just because they were looking for homeboys in space. All those shows. Oh my God, Parker Lewis can't lose, brother. Yeah. All those shows that came about because it's like we have a network. We need content. One of the greatest things that come from an example like that is In Living Color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we have this network. We need content. Let's do our own Saturday Night Live and look at the talent that spawned from just that.
Well, even go back even further. My War of the Worlds that was on the series. It was its own little independent network at nighttime, and Babylon 5 was during that time frame. They had their own, I can't remember what that one was, but they had another one with it. Renegade, the guy on the motorcycle.
Oh, Lorenzo Lamas. Yes.
Yeah.
God, and why do I remember Lorenzo Lamas?
And Highlander was out during that time, I mean, all them channels, because you had all those, like, before they became Fox networks, you had those independent channels, and then they became Fox, and then Fox, then all of a sudden you had UPN, WBs, all that. And that's what's going online right now. These networks.
It really is.
And,
yes.
What was the one that just came out that I just downloaded the other day? Electric Now.
I've heard something about that.
Yeah,
I think I saw.
Yeah, it's got Leverage, that series.
I love that show.
And the librarians, and it's all.
Oh, I love that show. Yeah,
it's produced by all those ones, and The Outpost that's on WB right now. It's all those like shows, but it's like a content provider, and then all of a sudden they're just going together and creating their own streaming
Yeah.
network. And it's
So
live, but with ads.
yeah. So it is. It's like history repeating itself. We're seeing an early introduction of networks, but instead of networks, it's just a different platform. It's streaming services. It's instead of, the cable, it's Wi-Fi. It's the same thing. And now it's even broader because before you still had to have cable and that provider, the shows that we saw like on UPN, somebody that lived an hour away in like Indiana, they might not have never even known anything about it because their cable provider didn't provide that. But now it's a broader base because that guy in Tahiti can see the same, on-air streaming platform that me and you are watching.
Yeah, because you got Pluto, you got Zumo, and you got Stripe. I mean, those are like mini cable networks of shows, and you can get news, sports, sci-fi entertainment, westerns, everything, You just scroll through and you can find them. Mystery Science Theater's got its own channel, I mean, it's just weird.
Yeah. It is. It's almost like, legitimately, Richard. It's almost like not only are we coming full circle, but it's a be careful of what you wish for. You just might get it situation, because we've had this conversation a bunch of times where here we are watching cable TV. It's got commercials, and I don't want to watch this, and I don't want to watch that. Just let me get an opportunity for just this right here. Well, now we're getting it. But now we're getting too much of it. So now we're finding, it's like the CW app. Yeah, it's free. It's got commercials. Don't care. If you'd have told me, 5 years ago, that I would be preferring the online service with ads as compared to paying for this specific network with these specific shows for a price with no commercials, that I would still favor the one over the other. It is. It's a weird dynamic. It is. It's like coming full circle, and it's like, hey, remember that thing you wished for? Here it is. Well, I don't want that now.
I think what's going to be crazy is I even want to experiment. We showed during Gem City Comic Con online when Amanda did all that. I streamed our old episodes from us going down there. I've been thinking about trying to do that more often, like our coverage from Middle Hiacon. I'm thinking about packaging them all together, and Saturday mornings just play them for an hour, just see if anybody wants to watch that old stuff as a live stream.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's out there. You can click on, watch it whenever you want, but for some reason, packaging it together as a live stream, it looks so different.
It does, and I mean, a lot. Even the higher up, network stuff has been doing that, more and more here lately. It's like, what was one of the latest ones I saw? Oh, just today I'd seen that the original cast of Splash, granted not John Candy, God rest his soul, passed away, but Tom Hanks, Daryl Hannah, Eugene Levy, they're planning on doing a live thing together, all these great. Yeah, I saw that today, and I'm like, literally the Jumanji meme came to life. It's just like, what year is it? All these, and it could be like, like what we're doing like right now, Richard. It's like me and you we could have shot this at any time. We could have done it, 9 o'clock tonight. We could have done it 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Right.
But doing it live and making it, showing it live and also eligible for rerun. Remember reruns, Richard? It's like that meta nostalgia. It's nostalgia on a level we weren't even ready for yet, because we're not even nostalgic for the content, but the ways we get content. It's like, remember commercials?
Well, that's just like the old days back when they used to have like a Chiller Theater, Night Owl Theater, all those hosts and stuff. Well, look at Mummy and the Monkey. They're doing it every Friday night at 10 o'clock on Facebook.
Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah.
Joe Bob Briggs is back. Oh yeah,
I mean, this is what Underground Video Network was originally designed to do. We were doing it on local access. Remember, I was doing it with Gary back in the 90s.
Yep.
And then
let's be honest.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, let's be honest, Richard, because it would only take about an hour's worth of me and you just like preparing, but like if me and you both had like a green background and we sat like this, hey, we got the camera just right, you wouldn't be able to tell. You know what I'm talking about, Richard? Yeah. You know what I mean? It would be just like back when you and Gary were on public access, like nobody would know the difference. Like, hey, you got a little something on your shirt there. You got a little something on your shirt there, Rich. Like, sorry.
But it's just a really fun time. I wish we tried to do live. We did it live in that other network back in, 2009 from your basement.
Oh my God, yes. Wow.
And your cousin from out in Kansas or something was watching, and you was messaging her through instant messaging through AOL or whatever.
Yes. No, it was like MSN Messenger.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You want to talk about it? Oh wow.
And then I had that little monitor set up so you guys could have a script, so you could kind of do
a teleprompter. Oh my God! I think I still have that picture somewhere. When we tried to do a teleprompter, and we learned teleprompters don't do shit for us. It's worse. It was worse for us because we had a teleprompter and it told us what to say. We were still. Oh yeah, in Action Comic Book 75. Yeah, but it's like you learn like. To just let us go. It was.
I remember Peanut. Peanut would just sit there and like.
Yeah. Oh my God.
SOS Peanut. Are you still out there? Give us a call.
Oh my God. A lot. It's really weird, Richard. It just seems like so much has changed, but it's all come back to. Here's. It's like this, Richard. Think about it like this. Pre-television, remember the old, well, I'm not saying remember like you were there, but the old radio drama broadcasts.
Right.
It was like Newsflash, 1970s, you had those. What's one of the things that's really big right now? Audible.
Well, I listen to the NPR version of Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I listen to that every week. I tuned in Sunday nights listening to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what basically you're talking about. Radio drama, Yes.
I had listened to this was less than a year ago, but Marvel did one with Wolverine. What was it? The Long Night. It was a radio drama broadcast.
Right.
And the one I had just found it here very recently. I literally just downloaded the first few episodes, and I haven't got a chance to listen to them. Was Marvel also did one for the Fantastic Four around the Marvels story, from like Ben Ulrich and the everyman point of view of. Yeah. I love the hell out of it. So if you think about it, everything really has come full circle. We had the radio broadcast before television was available. And now everything's available, and here I am listening to, radio broadcasts again. It's like you said, come full circle. And now what's so cool is anybody can do it. Yeah. That has been the defining moment. Well, if you think about it, Richard, even like right now, me and you talking to each other. This is the stuff that we had envisioned during the original Star Trek. You know what I mean? This is what the future was. This was what the future was supposed to be like. There were no phones. You just brought something up on your television, and now I'm looking at you and talking to you on my television. That was the future we were promised, and we were there, but it still wasn't. not that it wasn't ready. Nobody cared. We were
Right.
texting.
Yeah.
You know, and again, that goes back to, like, think about it like this, Richard, the telegraph. Oh my God, Richard, we're really going down the rabbit hole, because think of texting like the telegraph, where the only difference is now the telegraph is on your hip, where it's like, yes, I have the ability to speak to you, to talk to you. I'd rather read a line of dialogue. That's the telegraph. That's like saying you have a phone, but I would rather do. It's just our brains. The only difference is our brains have become adapted to Morse code. We don't see Morse code. We see the words now.
Right.
So, and like you said, this technology has always been available, but no one ever really utilized it. Even in office work, if you think about it, because you always see, even modern day, it's always the conference call. Even in modern day, the phone is here and everyone's talking. But now, because of social distancing, you can't have people in the office. Now it's like, oh my God, when did we have this capability to do this? Like, it's always been there. You just never used it, because we'd sit across from each other, like me and you. We would just go to our comic book store and stay next to each other. And we had this conversation before. I'm very interested to see what the world's going to be like once this, this is all over. I love the idea of getting with you and doing a show live, or a live, me and you together. I'm still working out my life. Me and you together. That will never go away. But it's also nice knowing that when life gets in the way, which it really has for me and you in the past before, it's like, I can't meet you at the comic book store tomorrow because I have a thing going on.
Right.
And the comic book store closes at 6, but I can't do anything until 9. That's not going to stop us now.
Or they got gaming going on at 11, and we usually filmed at 10, and we only had it an hour to get done.
Now we can do this.
I like it, and then this can actually be, I stripped the audio off, and it's our podcast too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the other thing that's really nice about this too, Richard, is, like I said, we'll never get away from doing shows side by side live, but it's nice knowing that I can do the show and I'm not wearing pants. If I don't wear pants in the comic book store, it's frowned upon, even post, pre-corona. But now I am wearing pants, or I might not be. You never know. But it's really nice. It's really nice knowing. And we tinkered with this before, Rich. Me and you have done a show where we try to steer away from it, because we know, like you said, you strip the audio down. But it's nice knowing it's like, hey, you know what? I happen to work on my Lego set this weekend. Maybe I'll email you the picture. You can pop it up on the screen. No, I'm going to pick my phone up and I'm going to go show you you know what I mean? You can do that. Or if I happen,
I can show it to my desktop if I want to.
Yeah, it's that great, and it really has. It's nice to look on the bright side of everything. That's the one thing that's we talked about it, me and Jared, and then the greatest strides in technology have always come through adversity and hardship, and this has, for our generation, been one of the biggest hardships, and you're going to see the technology that's coming out of it.
Yeah, I like it. I know we have to put StreamYard, but it's StreamYard's.
Who cares?
I know, it's letting us do it for free. That's the ad,
And you know what? Where am I at?
Yeah, right there.
Hey, right there. Stream. You know what? We're not normally. They don't sponsor us. We don't sponsor them. I'm going to say I have no problem with this service. If it's something I know and I use and I like, hey, if and it's not even just a live streaming app. If you have a group of people, me and Rick, after we end this podcast, like last week, we still talked for about an hour after just me and you privately, and there are other services out there. I know that Facebook is doing their rooms, that, and
Zoom and all the other stuff.
Zoom. Yeah. The technology is there, you know.
And the virtual Comic Cons are happening left and right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I was even thinking about doing that for the Comic Con from Kenton, but I decided I don't even want to do that because it's not even original anymore.
I know. Yeah.
I just want to do this. I just want to keep the show going, you know, and we can invite guests. Frank wants to come on sometime. I already talked to Frank about it. He said he'd come on, and Amanda said she'd come on guest, you know. So, you know, who knows? Anybody else want to come on? Sean or anybody, you know, pop on.
Yeah. And it's nice, you know, like this, you know, we can go live, or it's still nice knowing that me and you can do a show, because I think I mentioned to you, here's another instance of, you know, real life getting away. We're doing this right now at 9:30 on a Friday night. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be moving to second shift. So this particular moment in time, you know, this time frame can't happen. Yeah. But say, hey, dude, what are you doing Saturday morning at 10 o'clock? I'm not doing anything. Here, me and you are doing it.
Yeah.
We go live. Great. If you get a chance to watch us live, that's fantastic. If not, you can watch us later tonight or later tomorrow, or whenever, or stream us or listen to the podcast.
Right. It's available on, I think it's still available on iTunes and everywhere. So, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, it is. And I know the only one I haven't seen us on, Rich, is I know for a while the podcast service that I was using through Android and Galaxy was Podcast Republic, but the only place I know that we're not on yet is Spotify.
Yeah, I think you have to do something to get on that or something.
Yeah, because I'm one of those people. I'm late to every single party ever. I had friends, you know, it's like, I love Spotify. I'm like, I don't use Spotify. Just a couple weeks ago, I went down the Spotify rabbit hole.
Oh yeah.
Ad. When I learned that they were podcasts, and pretty much every podcast that I listened to on the other site was available through there. It's like, why am I using that other ad? You know, ad. You know.
I find a lot of indie music that I like, new and upcoming indie music. That's what I listen to on Spotify. You know, like Nasty Cherry and all these bands that don't, you know, Nasty Cherry's a little more mainstream, you know, but like, you know, some of these bands that I don't want to pay money to buy the album, I just listen on Spotify.
And that's another thing too. We talked about streaming services like Spotify, where it does have a limited free membership and ad, but you know, for like $9 a month, you get everything.
Right.
Everything. And it's one of those things that I went ahead and added because the idea, you know, again, it goes like there was radio, there was satellite radio, and now we've meted up, you know, now it's just like satellite. You can only listen to it in your car.
Sirius XM is giving you 3 months for free now.
Mm-hmm.
They're losing people left and right.
Yeah.
They got.
Oh yeah, they've got to be, because the day, and this was a while ago, but the day that the car makers started to put that aux-in cable on their car stereos. Oh, Sirius. It's like, wait a minute. People can listen to anything on their phone. Well, that's great, but they can't listen to it on their phone or on their car. Yeah, they can. Oh, shit. You know.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever used my satellite radio in my car.
When I'd first gotten the last car that I had, my Caliber, when I first bought it, it was used, but I got like 2 months of like satellite radio for free.
Right.
It was nice. I used it more for like the stand up and, you know, stuff like that. And then when the free time was over, I didn't care. But then once again, when I got on Spotify and I found out, you know, you could download playlists of comedians. I spent last weekend about 3 hours deep into Mitch Hedberg, you know, listening to stuff I hadn't heard in decades. So it really is. It's like the technology has finally caught up to our wishes, but we had to reevaluate. Here's the perfect way to put it, Richard. Richard, I'm tooting my own horn. I had a birthday last week. I turned 43. I'm proud of turning 43. Here's the thing. From here on out, I'm still 42. Because 42 is my favorite number of all time because of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm not ashamed of turning 43. I just particularly like the number 42. I waited 42 years to turn 42. That's my number. But it's that same instance where it's like people wanted to know the answer to life, the universe, and everything. The question was too broad. So when Deep Thought gave them the answer is 42, they're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. It's like you didn't ask the right question. It's the same thing, Richard. It's like, I want this technology. I want this technology. Well, here it is, but that's not what I wanted. You didn't specify. You didn't ask for it specifically. You see what I mean, Richard? It's a perfect example. I want this, this, and this. Well, you didn't really specify. You weren't specific in what you wanted, and the answer we gave you wasn't to the specific question for what you wanted. Yeah,
but exactly what the the media controlling giants wanted. Because, like I said, I was reading this back in the 90s. They wanted to do this. They just didn't have the technology to implement it yet because they were like running between satellite and cable, and it was a dominating force at the time. But hey, we're here. We have a channel for almost everything, and NBC Universal comes in a couple of months. Everybody's going to have one.
Yeah.
I'm serious. That Peacock comes out, everybody's going to be there,
I know. And I here really very recently, it might have just been a few days ago, I saw one of the first things for the Peacock. It was an online thing. It was the creator of Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane. I think they were going to do something weekly, but he came out and it was the Peacock because it had the logo with the color down here. I got to admit, I really did like this because we talked about it earlier. It was the cast of Monk. as the characters. It was Tony Shalhoub as Monk, and it was all of the it was his helper, the goofy guy, and the guy from Silence of the Lambs. I'm sorry, and it was brilliant. It showed how Monk was handling being in quarantine.
Oh wow.
It was one of the best things I've seen, and it wasn't like just a table read. It was like what Parks and Recreation did. It was an episode. It was them as their characters living their lives right now. It was how Adrian Monk would be alive right now. Like they showed him, and it was neat too because it wasn't just like this, Richard. They did some when it came to Adrian Monk, they did some clever editing. It was, you could still tell it wasn't professionally done. It was probably still Tony Shalhoub at his house, but it was cleverly edited. But it showed like Adrian Monk, 99 bottles of beer on the wall. And then it would cut back to him talking. Then it would cut back 67 bottles of beer on the wall. And then he'd find something on the mirror. He's like 67 bottles of beer. 99 bottles of beer. Oh my God, it was so good. And they even showed too, while he was on like on Zoom or something, they showed him he was still on the thing like this, Richard. And they're like, Mr. Monk, why are you so far? Why are you so far? He's like, I'm practicing social distancing. I'm 6 feet away. He was 6 feet away from his laptop. And then the one guy, the one younger, goofier guy, he sneezed, and Adrian Monk's face went blank. He goes, No! It's dust. It's pepper. He shut that laptop so quick, and he ran back to the bathroom and started scrubbing his hands. It was legitimately genius, but it was done through the Peacock.
Wow!
Because it had its ad, and it was. I was very surprised to see Seth MacFarlane. I love Seth MacFarlane, but he's usually
Fox.
You associate Fox, because of Family Guy,
But I think he's got a contract with Peacock now. I think.
I'm telling you this right here and right now. If the Peacock gets to the Orville,
no, Hulu's got it.
Yay! Oh,
yeah, a new episode of Hulu.
Oh, dude, you want to talk about it? Goddamn, we are going on the 2-hour mark. If anybody's still out there watching, we love and appreciate you. But about 40 minutes ago, it stopped being about you and it started being about me and Richard.
Corey checked in.
Thank you, Corey.
He liked us. He gave us a thumb up.
Yeah, after a while, it really does. And this is what our show. Here again, Richard. This is pretty much how Behind the Counter started. It was like, we ought to videotape that. Well, this is you and Gary, but it was like at the comic book store. The Comic Connection is like, we ought to just videotape us talking. That's all we're doing now. It stopped being about you about 2 hours ago.
And I would always splice this down. Remember, I would make it into a 30-minute episode. We sit there for 2 hours filming, and then it became a 30-minute episode.
Yeah. But no, I am so relieved to hear that, because the Orville is another one of those things that I have gone back and rewatched on. I originally saw it on Hulu, but that was because it wasn't a Hulu exclusive. It was just like the NBC shows, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It was through NBC, but it was streamed through Hulu.
Have a contract with them. Yeah, NBC used to have their own part of Hulu at one time, but then they bought them. Then Disney bought them out. So
yes, but the Orville. Oh my God, I can't even. That's another episode in and of itself. I know we've talked about it before, though, but the Orville is phenomenal. I even picked up. I think it was like 3 or 4 issues, but there was a comic book of the Orville out for a little while.
Yeah.
And it was when the younger girl was. It was set during when the younger girl was still the chief of security.
Yeah, before she jumped ship and went to Prodigal Son. That's where she went.
Yeah, that's where she went. Yeah, there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. And that was fine for her. It was good for her. I mean, the last I'd heard too, because there was a rumor that like her and Seth MacFarlane were a thing, but as far as I know, there was no ill feelings. She didn't pull a Catherine. Oh my God! Forewarning, I watched this when I was still married, but it was like it was not a Katherine Heigl, the Doctor TV show, Grey's Anatomy type situation where she was just like, screw you, I'm famous. Yeah! And then, her like movie career went down to the tubes. No, it was amicable. They even said that maybe sometime in the future they had left it open where her character could return. But I am just happy to know that we will be getting more episodes of that, because that show was awesome.
It was Dark Horse that had the comic.
Thank you. Yes, it was.
I had to look it up. I couldn't remember.
Dark Horse and the Indies have always been really good about picking up like the TV show properties and doing,
because they started with all the Fox stuff. Remember back in the day with Aliens and all that.
Yeah.
Predator, Terminator, and then of course IDW stepped in and picked up some of the stuff. Because remember, Dark Horse had Star Wars for the longest time.
Yes, they did for the longest time, and they had most of the expanded universe stuff too. They're the ones that did the comic adaptations of a lot of the original graphic, the not even graphic, the novels. Yeah, the novels.
If it wasn't for Dark Horse, we wouldn't have Star Wars now the way it is.
No, we wouldn't,
because they did that.
We would not.
They did that 6-part miniseries where they brought back the clones and stuff. Dark Empire. Yeah. If they didn't do that, we would not have seen none of this.
No, and we wouldn't have seen The Last Jedi neither, because that was the books that I even came up with the idea of bringing back Palpatine as a clone.
Right.
And the only thing I really wish, And they had such a perfect opportunity, because I remember not only did I have the books, but I had like the weirdly oversized comics. And they're gone now because I had no way to store them. But I had the Dark Empire, like, I mean, literally, they were magazine size. But the one image I will never forget was, I think it was. Yeah. But it showed the image of Leia and Han and them, and they were pinned down by an AT-AT. And Luke came in, and he had a very Vader feel to him. He had the dark cloak. He even had the gloves. But he walked right up to that AT-AT, and I mean, he brought it down with a flick. He brought it down with a flick of his wrist. And I really did when we watched the Last Jedi. And for that moment before we knew he was a Force projection, when he walked out onto that salt plain,
right?
I was like, oh shit, here it comes. Granted, what we got was a little bit better, with the and then he did that. But still, it's like they don't acknowledge they have come out and said that they do not acknowledge the expanded universe, but they'll still pick and choose some stuff from it, though.
Yeah. Because I always thought when what's her name, the one that's producing Star Wars now, said that there's no books that adapt. I go, what?
Yeah.
It's like she said that. It's like we have all of this stuff. We had the comics from Marvel original from the 80s, and then we have all the Dark Horse stuff, and then all the books. I mean, we had Splinter the Mind's Eye back in the day.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
Back when, they weren't, who knows?
The problem is, though, is simply with the introduction of Kylo Ren, they null and voided everything. Because with Kylo Ren, there was no way you could have had Han and Leia's twins.
Correct.
At all. And with Kylo, they made a choice. It's like, we can either have this character with this story arc, or we can go with the expanded universe. And they made a choice, and like it for better or worse,
Yeah, at least Jar Jar's back. No, the actors. Did you see what the actor played Jar Jar? I know. I actually watched the pilot. It's not bad.
No, yeah, it's.
I'm sorry, I had to say that.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back just ended behind me.
I know. I
started it almost right before our show started.
I still think what would be a great idea, and I know it'll never happen, is Disney has seen how popular their animated stuff is. Rebels, the Clone Wars. I mean, so good that they brought Clone Wars back.
Right.
If they would never do it, because it would probably end up being more popular. But if they were to do animated stories of the expanded universe.
Well, they're experimenting with Marvel with What If. You never know.
But you see what I mean? Like if they were to jump off from, and I think one of the perfect places would be from after Empire to go into Shadows of the Empire, and then take the expanded universe that way. Right. The only problem, the biggest reason, because animated, you could get away with anything and everything. You wouldn't even. There are people out there who could do the voice talent. Fucking Mark Hamill would. He would still do it. He still sounds the same. But I think, what? Honestly, I don't even think it's a monetary reason. I think the reason why they probably would never do it is it probably end up being more popular than the movies.
Yeah.
I don't know what I mean.
You never know if the What Ifs in Marvel might go over. You never know what they'll do.
This is true.
I mean, we're going to see Peter Parker as Hawkeye coming up.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Huh?
Yeah. And the one I'm so anxiously awaiting that was going to be the first one is Peggy Carter as Captain America.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't. And the fact that they've announced that they did get Haley Atwell to reprise her voice. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Right. And then who knows what's going to happen, you know? I mean, we could have Star Wars left and right. I like to see what's going to happen with the Skywalkers, you know, now that
So do I.
you know, the Force welders are all Skywalkers now, just like I kind of said would probably happen, you know? So
Yeah.
I just wonder what their antagonists will be. You know, if we don't have Sith anymore, you know.
Yeah.
The Sith are destroyed, the Jedis are destroyed.
Well, here's the thing, though, Richard, and they kind of alluded to it at the end of The Last Jedi, is when they showed it was a real small takeaway. Granted, that was one of my least, I'm not saying I dislike it, but it's one of my least favorite of the movies. But it had one of my favorite moments when they showed the little boy, the slave or indentured service, but they showed the little boy in the stable when they showed him grab the broom.
Yeah,
it acknowledges that Jedi and
they're not Jedis anymore. They're called Skywalkers.
Oh, okay. They're
called Skywalkers. That's why she took the last name Skywalker. If you have a Force welder, you know, now past the last Star Wars, you're going to be known as a Skywalker.
Oh, okay.
They would do, you know. That's
thank you. I that was me. I missed that.
Yeah.
So instead of like, no, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like when she went back to Luke's home on Tatooine to bury the lightsabers. That old lady asked her, "Who are you? You look familiar," and she goes, "I'm a Skywalker."
No, I got that as that was just she was saying her surname,
but it wasn't her. But that's how they're going to do it from now on. Anything past that movie, you will be known as a Skywalker if you're a Force welder.
Okay, it's a title now, not a last name.
Yes, it's a title.
Okay, because the Jedi as a religion, as an order, are gone.
Yeah, just like Luke said. Luke said that they, you know, I mean, he's the one that said that they failed, and then he destroyed the Sith. So both sides, and there's a balance now. So the Skywalker is the balance. That's the legend is now being said that the Skywalker was the one to bring the balance to the universe.
Gotcha. Okay.
But you can't have a story unless you don't have antagonists. So how do you have a story without, you know, and what's the big bad? Yeah.
Well, there's, I mean, just like there may not be Jedi anymore, but the Jedi lore and history will always be there, which I'm sure the Sith will. So it could be people, you know, that come up and worship the Sith ways the same way, but now they're Darths. You know, maybe this is purely speculation, but if we're going to use Skywalker as a title or as a title and not a last name now, why not do the same thing with Darth? You know, you know, he's a dark Skywalker, which
he was turned, he went dark, then got turned back to light.
Right.
When he killed the Emperor, he went back to the light side.
Right.
So he was supposed to be bringing the balance to the universe. Then Luke just picked up the pieces, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it's a long whatever. We talk too much.
Yeah. We really should be wrapping this up. Man, Rich, God. Not only did we cover no kidding, not only did we cover everything we thought about, man, we just went off a complete, we went into streaming and we went into Star Wars, and there was, Rich, I don't know how you'd find it because it was a link, but somebody did a really great small edit of the last scene in the last Skywalker. No, the Rise of the Skywalker was a really great edit. Was when they showed Rey there on Tatooine, and the old lady comes up there and she's like, "Who are you?" And she goes, "I'm Rey." And she's like, "Rey who?" And it was such a great edit, but her eyes turned kind of red. And instead of saying Skywalker, she says Palpatine, and like a red lightsaber comes up. Then the screen goes blank, and then you hear a cut, or you hear a whomp, and you hear obviously two halves of a body fall. It was one of those things too where the music really added to it. It was just like, ooh, that was
wow.
Damn, that was really good, but yeah, who knows? Maybe, years from now, I'm hoping that I really do, and this is a lot for me to say. I really do hope that we haven't seen the last of Ray, Poe, and Finn, because I really think, a lot of people agree. I really think both Poe and Finn kind of got shafted on the last movie. Finn definitely did. Finn was kind of he was. They touched on it a little bit, that he was force sensitive.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they even really touched on it in like the first movie, because their advertisements was so misleading when they showed all these advertisements of him holding, a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Even I was like, ooh, the idea that, don't get me wrong, I still love Rey, but story-wise, the idea that an ex-Storm clone trooper or, First Order trooper could make his way over that way was really, really interesting. And then especially in the last movie when it was very alluded to that he was force sensitive.
Right.
Actually, let me ask you. Yeah.
It's when he was with Lando's daughter there, because she was force sensitive.
Yes. And, well, I don't think me and you have ever had this conversation, Richard, just really quick, because they never, remember Finn kept wanting to tell Rey that he wanted to tell her something.
Oh, yeah.
There's been speculation on both sides. At first everybody thought he was going to say that he loved her. And then it's just like, no, I can't remember who it was, but somebody came out and officially said that he was going to tell her that he was force sensitive.
Right. I'm
really in that school. Because especially at the very end when she died, he felt it.
Oh, yeah.
He felt it very much like Leia felt it when Kylo died, or when Ben died.
Yeah.
So that to me, I really hope we haven't. I really do. I hope we haven't seen the last of them. And this is coming from an old school person, Richard. I'm ready for them to move on, like you said, away from Han, Leia, Luke, even Chewie. It's time for, I will admit, I believe it's time for them to have their own story.
Yeah. I think it would work.
I do too. And they're all young enough to carry it on. They're of the right age to carry everything on.
Right.
It's not like we can say, hey man, I think Harrison Ford should have, movies coming out in the next 20. Yeah, no, it's not gonna,
In Indiana Jones 5 is going to be pushing it.
Yeah. Even the Crystal Skull was pushing it. But Rich, we are actually hitting on the 2-hour mark, so
at least we know we can stream for 2 hours.
I know. So if you're still here, if you're still watching us, bless. If you're still listening to us, maybe on an audio podcast, thank you very much. On behalf of Richard Catterjohn and myself, Mike Borf, we want to thank everybody who's been here with us. We hope you stay safe. Stay smart, stay kind. Richard, where can they hear and/see us live and in reruns and hear us whenever?
The easiest way is just go to undergroundvideonetwork.com. You can find our Facebook link, our Twitter link, and YouTube channel. Links all there. Find us on social. We live stream straight to the Facebook, and then we mix the audio up and the video, and we have it everywhere else. So thank you for watching.
Thanks, everybody.